When I was a kid, everyone told me I was smart. My parents, my grandparents, teachers, family, friends. Max is so intelligent. Max is such a bright boy. He's going to do great things. And I believed them. Why wouldn't I? They were the adults. They knew things. And hearing that felt amazing. It felt like I was special. I was valuable. But here's what nobody told me. Those compliments were poison. Not because my family didn't love me or was trying to hurt me. They were doing what every well-meaning parent does, trying to build my confidence and make me feel good about myself. But what they actually did was teach me that my value came from being naturally smart, not from working hard, not from struggling through difficult things, from just being. And when I hit my teenage years and the real world stopped showering me with praise just for existing, I completely fell apart. Today I want to talk about something that most parents get catastrophically wrong. It's called ability praise. And if you've been telling your son he's smart, he's talented, he's gifted, you need to understand what you're actually doing to his brain. Because the research on this is crystal clear. And my life is proof of what happens when you get it wrong. Let me tell you about a study that changed how we understand motivation. American psychologist Carol Dweck took hundreds of kids and gave them a puzzle. Not a hard puzzle, everyone could solve it. Then she divided the kids into two groups. To the first group she said, "Wow, you must be really smart." To the second group she said, "Wow, you must have worked really hard." Same puzzle, same performance. The only difference was what they were praised for. Then she offered them a choice, an easy puzzle or a hard puzzle. The kids who were praised for being smart, 67% of them chose the easy puzzle. They wanted to keep looking smart, didn't want to risk failing and proving they weren't as intelligent as the adults had said. The kids who were praised for effort, 92% chose the hard puzzle. They wanted the challenge and wanted to learn. Same kids, different praise. Completely different behavior. But it gets worse. Dweck gave all the kids a really difficult puzzle, one that was designed to be almost impossible. The smart kids fell apart. They got frustrated and they gave up quickly. Some of them even started crying because struggling meant they weren't smart anymore. And if they weren't smart, what were they? The effort kids loved it. They kept trying different approaches and treated it like a game. When they couldn't solve it, they said things like, "This is fun," and "I almost had it." Then Dweck did something brilliant. She gave them all one final test, another easy puzzle, similar to the first one. The kids who had been praised for effort, they did 30% better than they did the first time. They learned from struggling. The kids praised for being smart did 20% worse. The failure broke them. Let that sink in. Telling a kid they're smart doesn't make them perform better, it makes them perform worse. I was that first kid. Not in Dweck's study, but in real life. I was showered with ability praise my entire childhood. My entire self-worth was built on it. I loved hearing I was smart. I loved being told I had so much potential. It felt like being wrapped in a warm blanket. Like I was valuable without having to do anything. And because I was praised for just existing, I learned something dangerous. Effort means you're not naturally good. Think about it. If someone's truly smart, they don't have to try hard, right? Things just come easily to them. So if I had to work hard at something, that meant I wasn't actually smart. It meant the adults had been wrong about me. And that's the trap. So I avoided anything difficult. I stuck to things I was already good at, and I stayed in my comfort zone. And for a while, that worked. Elementary school was easy. I could coast. I could look smart without really trying. But then middle school hit. And suddenly, things weren't so easy anymore. My grades started to drop. The material got harder. I would have needed to put in real effort to maintain my status as the smart kid, even just in front of myself. But I didn't. Because putting in effort would have meant admitting I wasn't naturally smart. It would have shattered the identity I'd built my entire childhood on. So instead of developing a growth mindset, instead of learning that struggle is how you get better, I did what people with fixed mindsets do: avoid. Midway through sixth grade, I took my parents up on an offer they'd made years earlier. I could switch to Munich International School, this prestigious private school that was supposedly so much better. I told myself that I needed a better learning environment, that the public school wasn't run well. And even my parents were convinced of this. This public school wasn't giving us students the requisite amount of care and attention because they were frequently subbing teachers with trainees. But the truth? I was pulling the plug, running away from the discomfort of having to actually try. That school change was my first major fixed mindset avoidance maneuver, and it set the pattern for everything that followed. And here's the thing about the teenage years. Every single year represents colossal transformation. Each year from 12 to 18 has enormous developmental weight. That's when you're supposed to prove yourself, to test yourself, and figure out who you are through trial and error. It's been like this since the dawn of human history, and especially so for boys. But if you have a fixed mindset, you avoid all those tests. You skip all those challenges. And the problem compounds every single year. As middle school turned into high school, my discomfort just grew. I struggled with crushing social anxiety. I had this deep-seated desire to connect with popular kids and cute girls at school. But I never tried. Not once. Because trying and failing would prove I wasn't naturally attractive. Better to do nothing and preserve the fantasy that I could be good with girls if I wanted to be. Then at 18, I went to Barcelona for my first year of university. I barely left my room. While other students explored the city and made friends, I watched porn and binged TV shows. An entire year in one of the world's most vibrant cities wasted. By the time I get to Syracuse University at age 19, the pattern's really starting to calcify. I've even joined a fraternity where I'm surrounded by beautiful girls who are, frankly, very available. This is the ideal environment for a young guy to gain experience, build confidence, and figure out how to talk to girls. But I couldn't do it. I'd be totally passive at these parties, just like I had been back in Europe when clubbing with my friends. I'd see girls I found attractive and I couldn't approach them, and I couldn't start conversations. I was paralyzed. Why? Because approaching a girl and being rejected would prove I wasn't naturally charming. It would prove the praise I got as a kid was a lie. Better to not try, better to stay safe, go home and watch porn, where I could fantasize about being desired without actually risking anything. 3 years at Syracuse, hundreds of parties, thousands of opportunities missed. I didn't fail to fail because I lacked ability. I failed to fail because I had a fixed mindset. I thought either girls would spontaneously come to me, like that beautiful experience at 17 when my mom's assistant seduced me during my internship, or I just wasn't meant to be good with girls. I never once thought, this is a skill I need to develop. I need to practice approaching, learn how to talk to girls, and get rejected 100 times so I can get comfortable with rejection. That would have required effort, and effort in my mind meant I wasn't naturally good, which meant I wasn't special. And so I did nothing and wasted years. The fixed mindset is the belief that your abilities are set in stone. You're either smart or you're not, talented or not, attractive or not. And there's nothing you can do to change it. The opposite is the growth mindset, the belief that abilities are developed through effort. You're not good at this yet, but you can get better. People with a fixed mindset avoid challenges, give up easily, see effort as pointless, ignore feedback, and feel threatened by others' success. People with a growth mindset embrace challenges, persist through obstacles, see effort as a path to mastery, learn from criticism, and feel inspired by others' success. I spent 21 years in the fixed mindset prison, from age 12 to 33. I drifted through life avoiding anything difficult, watching porn obsessively while never committing to anything long enough to get good at it. Why? Because I was terrified of trying and failing. Failure would prove I wasn't special. It would prove my parents were wrong about me. And the worst part, I had no idea that's what was happening. I thought I was just lazy or that I lacked motivation. I thought something was fundamentally broken in me. But it wasn't laziness, it was fear. Fear of finding out I wasn't as capable as everyone said I was. Now, I need to be clear about something. My parents weren't bad parents. They loved me and they wanted the best for me. And that's exactly why they praised my intelligence. They thought they were building my confidence. Almost every parent does this. You see your kid do something well and you say, "You're so smart," because you want them to feel good and believe in themselves. But here's what you're actually communicating. Your value comes from being naturally intelligent. And your kid hears, "I'm valuable when I look smart. I'm not valuable when I struggle." So they start avoiding anything that might make them look stupid. They stick to what they're already good at, and they develop an ego that's incredibly fragile. Because it's not built on competence, it's built on perception. And the second they encounter someone smarter or a challenge they can't immediately master, that ego shatters. The brutal irony is, you praise your kid to build their confidence when you're actually destroying it. So what should you do instead? Praise effort, strategy, persistence, and improvement. Instead of "You're so smart," say "You worked really hard on that." Instead of "You're a natural," say "I love how you kept trying different approaches." Instead of "You're gifted," say "You're improving so much because you're practicing." This isn't just feel-good advice. This, as it turns out, is neuroscience. When you praise effort, you teach your kid that success comes from what they do, not who they were born as, and that struggle is normal and that failure is data, not a verdict. You teach them that they have control, and control is what builds real confidence, not the brittle ego that comes from ability praise, the kid that collapses the moment things get hard, but the deep, resilient confidence that says, "I can handle difficult things because I'm willing to work through them." Here's the hope. Mindsets aren't permanent. Dweck's research shows that you can change from fixed to growth mindset, but it requires deliberate practice. You have to learn to catch yourself when you're avoiding challenges and then reframe failure as learning and value effort over outcomes. And here's the thing, this is way easier to do at 15 than at 30. Your son's brain is still developing. He's in what neuroscientists call a critical period of neuroplasticity. His brain is ready to be rewired. The pathways aren't calcified yet. And that's why early intervention matters so much. If your son is 15 and stuck in a fixed mindset, you can still turn this around. But if you wait until he's 25, it's going to be much harder. Not impossible. I'm proof it's possible, but much, much harder. In my 6-week ignition program, we attack the fixed mindset directly. Week 1, we do a reality audit. Your son has to confront the truth about where he is and why. And we introduce the concept of fixed versus growth mindset explicitly. Week 2, we make him embrace discomfort. We give him challenges that are designed to be difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. And we teach him to interpret that difficulty as growth, not inadequacy. Week 3, we engineer failure on purpose. We give him tasks that he will not complete perfectly. And then we debrief. What did you learn? How did you respond to failure? Did you give up or adapt? By the end of 6 weeks, he's learned that his value doesn't come from being naturally talented. It comes from being willing to struggle. That's the shift. That's the transformation. If you've been praising your son's intelligence, I'm not here to make you feel guilty. You were doing what you thought was right, what every parent does, what my parents did. But now you know better. And knowing better means you can do better. Starting today, change how you praise. When your son does well on a test, don't say, "You're so smart." Say, "You must have studied really hard. That effort paid off." When he struggles with something, don't say, "Maybe this isn't your thing." Say, "This is hard right now, but that's how you get better." Keep trying different approaches. When he fails, don't rescue him or tell him it's okay because he's talented. Say, "Failure is part of learning. What did this teach you? What will you try differently next time?" This language shift seems small, but over time it rewires his brain. It teaches him that he's not defined by his natural ability. He's defined by his willingness to grow. I'm 38 now. I wasted most of my adult life in a fixed mindset prison. I avoided challenges, quit when things got hard, and watched other people succeed while I stayed stuck. And it all started with 3 words: "You're so smart." My family meant well, but those words taught me that my value was fixed, that it was either good enough or I wasn't, that struggle meant I wasn't special. It took me until my mid-30s to realize the truth. Struggle doesn't mean you're not good enough. Struggle means you're growing. I don't want your son to waste 21 years learning that lesson. I don't want him to hit 33 and look back with regret at all the things he could have done if he'd just been willing to try. The ability praise trap is real. It's insidious, and it's probably already affecting your son. But it's not too late. Change your language, change his mindset, change his life.